Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shakura Plateau. This is the Thermaltake eSports Challenge for $3,000, and I bring you the one and only Cruncher from Team Complexity. He is in the orange trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the southwest of this particular map versus his opponent from Six Jacks Gaming, DDE. He is in the red trunks, and they're not red, in fact. I'm colorblind, apparently, it would seem. I'm suddenly stricken by color blindness. Oh my god. Yes, he is actually in the puce trunks, as you can tell right there, very, very clearly. It looks like puce. Is that puce? Yes, yes, it is puce. What am I talking about? The blue trunks! God damn it! It is the Terran player DDE from Six Jacks, and he is, needless to say, playing Terran to the southeast of the Shakura Plateau. Now, these guys got here in a fairly convincing fashion, beating their opponents 2-0 respectively, and we'll see whether or not we get any more 2-0 action here. DDE probably the stronger of the two, I would have to say. I would be fairly surprised to see Cruncher beat him. DDE's been posting very, very good results lately against some very good players. He's been winning a lot of online tournaments. And, of course, Six Jacks is looking to be a stronger and more competitive force in the Starcraft 2 eSports scene at the moment. Seems to be doing a good job of doing just that. The Terran players are particularly lethal. Cruncher, on the other hand, he is known for pulling off some surprising victories against people you wouldn't necessarily expect. And I think you all know about that. And if you don't, well, there you go. DDE not picking up a gas just yet. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, however. He may be delaying it for 14 supply. Could be going for a 2-barracks approach, which is nowhere near as popular against Protoss, though, so it seems fairly unlikely. But since he has been doing that quite a lot, we'll find out. He hasn't got any gas at all so far, so could be doing that or could be looking for an early expansion or just a very heavy marine build. DDE charging himself into this probe right here, throwing his SCV at it with great gusto and trying to deal with it, of course, not able to do anything of the sort. And DDE actually could be looking for a very early expansion right here. And with the 1 barracks, no gas, he feels that his opponent's not going to threaten him. And to be fair, he's probably right on that one. I don't usually expect to see Cruncher getting particularly aggressive early on in the game. He has been known to use a 4-gate every now and again, but this expansion should work out quite well. That's assuming that's what he's going for. The supply depot coming down right there. I mean, I would have expected more barracks by now, or at least some gas if it wasn't going to expand, so I'm fairly sure DDE is going to do just that. In the meantime, DDE gets some scouting action on. Yes, he finds a cybernetic score and a second gas, admittedly with Cruncher, the sneaky individual. You have no idea what that actually means. Could be pretty much anything from him. Expansion is coming up very, very shortly right now for DDE. He delays it just a little bit so that he can get another supply depot and a couple more Marines out. He's feeling nice and secure as Cruncher doesn't appear to be doing anything particularly aggressive. And DDE is able to continue to get some scouting information. Cruncher is going to miss the initial Zealot and go straight for a Stalker, and there's a quick boost on the Cybernetic score. Again, doesn't really mean anything. We've got double assimilators both actually mining right now, so we could see some Sentry play into an expansion, or we could be looking for some Colossus, Stargate, or of course Dark Templar. All of these are a possibility. Cruncher, sneaky individual, may be putting a pylon down there, but it wouldn't really serve any practical purpose. Either that or he's scouting for the proxy pylons of DDE, who has been known to build proxy pylons in his time. He doesn't actually do that, by the way. I'm lying to you, deliberately trying to manipulate your feelings on this particular matter. We've got a sentry on the way up for Cruncher, who is only on a single gate for the time being, so an expansion is looking extremely likely, especially with that probe right there. And there is the expansion for DDE, which is almost complete, and he's got a wonderful little bunker right there. He doesn't have to worry too much at all. Stalker goes up that ramp. It is going to die unless it backs away, and Cruncher's taking shield damage, but nothing else. He knows that there's an expansion coming up. He must be aware of this now as a result of seeing that bunker, and we've got DDE with 2 more barracks coming up and a single gas for the time being, so I expect to only really see Marine Marauder play initially until he ends up picking up some more gas. Cruncher picks up a free SCV. He's not too worried about what's going on right now. Admittedly, DDE probably also expects that, considering the fact that he saw the sentry at the front. He probably expects to see an expansion behind that one. Robotics facility coming up right here. We are probably looking for fast Colossus right now from Cruncher. He's got a second gateway coming up, so again, 2-gate into robotics. Nothing unusual about that whatsoever. And we will wait to see what DDE decides to do. DDE, once he starts applying the pressure with drops and things like that, is a very, very dangerous opponent. And, of course, he does have a window of opportunity where he can go in and do some big damage before Cruncher is able to get out those Colossus. Nice little bit of scouting information gathered by there. He is now certain there's an expansion right there, and DDE decides this is the time to go in, and I can hardly blame him. There's only 2 sentries up at the time being, so we're looking for a possibility of some real economic damage. That said, Cruncher will see it coming a mile away since he has control of this, so I would imagine a defensive warp in coming in to deal with that. But there are actually only 2 gates up, so this is going to be problematic one way or the other, especially since Cruncher is actually getting an observer from that as opposed to any real defense. So unless there's some fantastic sentry play from Cruncher, he's going to take a lot of damage from this initial attack, assuming he doesn't go down entirely. There's a free Stalker right there for DDE, who's going to be very happy about that. 4 sentries in the mix right now, and that is a solid wall-off. DDE can't get in there under any circumstances and doesn't have any drop capability, so he's going to be limited to what he can really do here. A scan up the ramp would maybe allow the Marauders to actually fire, and this is a bit risky here for DDE. Triggers a couple more of those. I think we can maybe expect to see 1 more set, and then Cruncher will be forced to actually defend. DDE streaming reinforcements across the map right now, looking to apply real pressure. Down go the sentries, and I would think, actually, it looks like he may even, no, I think he's only going to have enough, oh, he just has enough energy there. So he can actually hold that for quite some time. I wouldn't say indefinitely, though, since he's now been forced to pull back. Doesn't have the energy to really go for it once again, and DDE trying to get aggressive. DDE does not want to fall back right there. He can be very easily divided by those sentries right there, and he waited long enough. I mean, to be fair, Cruncher had a lot of opportunity to rebuild right then. He's easily able to repulse that. Very, very nicely played there by Cruncher, and that's the power of sentries, folks. If you have 4, you can keep that ramp locked down for a very long time. DDE is thrown back without too much of an issue. In the meantime, what's DDE been up to? Well, we can see Reactor coming up right there for him, and looks like we're going to get a swap around right there by the looks of it. It does not look like Hellion. This looks like Medivacs right now, so DDE looking to get aggressive with a little bit of drop play. Cruncher has a look around and sees what he can see. He is well aware that the starport is on its way, so he'll be looking to try and get those Colossus up immediately so that he can start to deal with those Marine Marauder forces. They'll be coming in from DDE. Another barracks to back that one up. It's a second reactor coming down, which is, of course, on this barracks right here. So lots of Marines coming out very shortly. Stimpack is almost complete. It's interesting that DDE decided to push in before that, but he was quite late on the Stimpack as a result of that fast expansion, so yeah, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Right. There we go. Double Medivacs coming up. Is anyone really surprised by that? I certainly hope not. DDE is looking fairly good economically, as you can see. He's got a slight lead on his opponent. His SCV count is pretty much the same as Cruncher's, and he's got 2 mules to back it up, so that's very helpful for him indeed. Looks like he's not going to bother to get aggressive too much yet. Needs to try and get some upgrades going. He's going for +1 right here, looking for Marines and Marauders, and we're looking for drop play. And in the meantime, Cruncher is getting out his first Colossus. I have a feeling this game might go on for quite some time as a direct result of this. If the Colossus comes out and Cruncher is going to play that very passive style that he's known to do, then any kind of push from DDE is going to be shut down very easily, especially bearing in mind that Cruncher sees this coming a mile away. He is well aware of what's on its way, and no doubt fairly confident to defend it, especially with the Colossus on the field. And Extended Thermal Lance is on its way. It's not going to be up before this engagement unless DDE decides to delay it. And Cruncher, with good placement of Observer right there, will be able to respond to this very easily. Couple of Stalkers moving out already, looking for the interception right here on this drop, as you can see. Very easily repulsed, and Cruncher holds quite nicely. Another expansion coming up right here for DDE, and the barracks to follow that one up as well, looking to try and pile on more pressure onto Cruncher. But Cruncher, as I said, has this passive style, and he can defend very easily. Not worried at all. Marines and Marauders easily thrown back by the force of this Colossus, mixed in with a large sentry count right there. He's sitting on 6 at the moment. Army supply count is pretty much equal in every respect, as you can see. And DDE unable to really get any drops in, especially bearing in mind Cruncher's now placed some cannons down. So getting in there is going to be a little bit risky. For the time being, DDE just looks to expand and try to cement an economic advantage over his opponent. DDE tends to go for a lot of SCVs, as you can see. He is already ahead of his opponent. He had a ton in the previous set of games. And that's interesting. 2 more starports coming in right here for DDE. A double starport is an intriguing move. You don't usually do that if you go mass Medivac. He's going to build a lot of Vikings, and he might even mix some Banshees in there, maybe some Ravens for good measure. 3 starports is a lot of starports, no doubt. And Cruncher trying to take his 3rd, and he's able to do so quite easily. A small force, I say small, moving out from Cruncher. It's still got 2 Colossi in the mix, and they have +1 weapon upgrade as well. There's some Immortals there just to make things a little bit uglier for DDE. Plenty of Vikings on the way up, and we'll see what he goes for. He's actually building Vikings from pretty much every one of those. We're going to build 4 at a time, and we'll see if he's able to get enough out. I would think he would. And the question more so than anything is Cruncher going to switch out of that and force his opponent to overcommit to the Vikings? This is very, very possible. Viking count's looking pretty good right now. Here's the drop right here from DDE, but that's easily cleaned up by Cruncher. Not a huge amount of damage done right there. Forge shut down, which was quite nice. We have a look at units killed. You can see right there. Cruncher doing fairly well with the cleanup, and here's a big attack coming in right here from DDE, trying to take that Nexus out, but again, too many Colossus on the field, but DDE might be able to snipe that one off. DDE going forward with a Medivac. I assume that's to absorb a little bit of fire, but those Vikings taking fire from the ground, and that Colossus stays alive. In the meantime, DDE's forces are very badly beaten, and they'll take a lot of damage if he decides to go in again with that. They won't be able to stand up against that kind of Colossus firepower. At least the +2 was shut down by the looks of it. Yes, it was. So Cruncher was going to have to start that one off again. So that was a good little bit of drop play there by DDE, who's now sitting on 8 Medivacs. 8 Vikings, in fact, and 2 Medivacs. 21 Marauders, 14 Marines available, and it is 88 to 65 in favor of DDE. The main problem is he's got to deal with those Colossus, and that's going to be difficult to do. 2 more Colossi coming out for Cruncher right here. Yes, Cruncher. I can just imagine that being some kind of wrestling intro for him. Double robotics facility up for him on 2 bases, which is not uncommon. Not for him at all. Now his 3rd base is operational, so that's even better for him. And he's picking up 6 gas as well. An engagement in the middle, and the question is, will DDE be able to do any real damage? He loses a Viking almost immediately, so not looking likely right now. Psystorm on the way for Cruncher as well. Going to throw some High Templar in the mix. Cruncher playing very defensively, very passively, and DDE does have an economic advantage. It's actually kind of severe, if you can see right there. You've got a lot of SCVs on the field. He actually hasn't even bothered to deploy any mules for the moment. So he's looking very, very strong. His SCV count is extremely high, but of course, once we start getting to this crucial mark where the army sizes are at 200 each, then this number of SCVs might end up crippling DDE just a little bit if he continues to build them at such a rate. We'll find out. DDE pushing forward again, and he's sitting on +1/+1 upgrades. He's looking for +2 armor and +2 weapon. +2 armor will definitely be useful against the Colossus. Admittedly, that +2 upgrade is almost complete right now for Cruncher, so it's really going to do nothing but cancel it out. Zealot charge on the way. There are some High Templar down on the field. DDE looking to try and flank around his opponent. There's a small force moving there, and he is spreading himself out, circling around in a wide arc, looking to try and surround Cruncher, who is drawn out into the midst of a storm of fire. And speaking of storms, there's a big Psystorm damage going on DDE, and DDE is actually getting cleaned up here. The question is, will Cruncher be able to save those Colossus? Is looking very, very unlikely. So one way or the other, this was a very costly engagement right here for Cruncher, who is not going to lose that final Colossus, I don't think. And Cruncher able to finish things off right there. No drop play in the back of the base or anything along those lines right now, so the army supply count now swings in favor of Cruncher in a fairly major way. And DDE, while he does have this economic advantage, is going to have to go some way to rebuild here. That Colossus needs to be taken out. He did go in there, I think, yeah, he did. He went in there before his +2 armor completed, and maybe even before his +2 weapon, in fact. Didn't quite see that one. But regardless, he ended up getting split up very nicely. It was good defense there by Cruncher, and Cruncher took minimal losses. It was fairly efficient. There's the units killed, as you can see, and if you have a look at units lost, the resource count is really heavily in favor of Cruncher right now, simply due to the amount of units DDE just threw away in that last attack. Right now, he's still relying on a Force of Bio, not looking for anything else. The +3 upgrade right there. Observer spots that base. And you'll see that DDE is sitting on 4 bases right now. Cruncher is setting up his 4th as well. Once again, we're in for a long, very entrenched game by the looks of it. A couple of Ghosts coming in the mix for DDE as well with the Mobius Reactor upgrade, so some EMPs could certainly help. I'm concerned still about those Colossi, however. And he will be able to use the EMPs to nail down these High Templar. The thing is, the Templar count isn't actually all that high, so I have to wonder. We'll see if he decides to overcommit to Ghosts or anything like that. Hopefully not. I mean, DDE's in a good economic situation right now, so he can't be that worried. But he still has 85 SCVs. That is a lot. Admittedly, Cruncher has managed to catch up to 84. A quick drop right here from DDE, as we can see. He'll take a pylon for free. The question is, can he do any real damage with this? Photon cannon is coming down. DDE should be able to take that out before he takes any significant damage. There we go. And these +2/+2 upgraded Marines and Marauders are going to do fairly well against these Zealots, as you can see. probably the best upgrades he could have gone for, really, with the +2 armor against those Zealots. He takes bare minimum losses, takes very little damage, and Cruncher's force is moving out entirely. But DDE perhaps had an opportunity there to attack somewhere else. He could have maybe hit the third of Cruncher right there, but he wasn't prepared to do that. So a little bit of drop play, a little bit of harassment, not all that effective, however, and he's forced out as quickly as possible. A quick drop by DDE to counter that Zealot, and he can then pick up and go if he so desires. And there's the roll back to the position from Cruncher. And really, again, DDE could have probably got aggressive there and maybe could have taken the third out, so that's perhaps a missed opportunity. 3 more command centers coming down for DDE, entirely standard, and +3 weapon upgrade for infantry is almost complete. Working on +3 armor right now. A couple of tech labs. 4 command centers coming up. Are these actually defensive command centers? Some of them could be. Couple of planetary fortress in the middle there for DDE will be quite nice. We'll find out. Army supply count is actually in favor of DDE once again. He gets out of that storm mostly, but he's actually not able to get out of there simply because of the positioning of those command centers. One of those will be cancelled immediately. He might even lose the second. Big storm right there. Huge storm damage coming in, raining down those Vikings torn out of the sky very easily. Nice play there by Cruncher, and DDE sort of milling around trying to defend that command center after taking big damage. He may even be forced to cancel. Well, well, well. That was a very nice engagement there by Cruncher. Admittedly, he was thrown back, but still, he did good damage. He tore the Vikings out of the sky. 4 more Vikings on the way up, and the Colossus count of Cruncher is looking good. Just adding on 7 more gateways now. Massive macro games coming in from both. DDE close to maximum capacity. Dark Templar Shrine coming in for Cruncher as well. Probably a smart move. That said, DDE has actually gone all in on command centers. Orbital, in fact. So he's got a lot of scan energy available. Wow, that's a gutsy expansion there from DDE as well, considering that Cruncher already has access to it. Good lord. Drop in the back right here as DDE tries to do some damage to Cruncher's economy and is able to take out a few probes, but not a huge number. 85 to 78 right here, and DDE is still holding that line quite nicely. +3 is kind of good. He doesn't have +3 armor yet, but he's looking for it. A large rollout from DDE. The majority of DDE's forces are there, in fact, almost all of them. He's going to lose that command center. I have to wonder if that was actually a command center just to draw Cruncher out of position right now. I don't know if DDE will be able to do too much with it. Vikings taking some damage as the Stalkers blink in to try and snipe them off. And where is DDE? He is backing the hell away. He's not willing to go in at all. He doesn't think that he's got the firepower. Perhaps he doesn't. With that many Colossi in the mix, it's going to be difficult to deal with, especially if they have +3. There are 5 of them. He's got +2 armor on there as well, just to make things even more unpleasant. And that was a nuke coming out for DDE. I think that was accidental because he just cancelled that. Going for personal cloaking right now. DDE is going to be hard-pressed to defend this, I would think, with those Templars as well as those Colossi in the mix. His Viking count is on 8, so it's not bad, but it's not amazing. DDE pulls a huge amount of SCVs off. That is a defensive command center in the middle there. Yes, that is a planetary fortress. However, Cruncher not willing to go in once again. Level 2 ship weapon coming up right here for DDE. That's quite nice. And that will give the Vikings significant bonuses. DDE decides he's just going to throw these away. This is deliberate, of course, so he can have a larger army. There we go. Nice bunch of freebies right there. You even get some scouting information out of it as well. And DDE is looking to then reinforce 3 more Ghosts, 4 more Vikings, as well as some good EMPs in the front right there. Very nice EMPs. The question is, can DDE actually follow that up? He needs to bring the Colossus down. It's going to be difficult. He needs to get out of those damn storms. Oh my god, the storms. Wow. And a force field at the back as well. So DDE was not able to escape from those storms. However, the +3 upgrades come into effect as DDE charges back through the line after taking horrendous damage. He's able to hold. Very nice play there by DDE, and of course he can rebuild that without too much of a problem. His count is looking very nice. The defensive planetary fortress was eliminated, so we will be sad to see that one go, but still, my god, those storms were lethal. A lot of damage coming down. The Marauders, I think, soak up the most of it. The Marines were annihilated very rapidly, and yes, we are actually going to see a nuke coming in right here from DDE. Plenty more where that came from, Cruncher says. Oh yes, with a massive warp in from his large number of gateways, the number of which I cannot actually count right here. He's got a lot of gateways, that's all I can say. He really does have a massive number of gateways. Look at that, massive great line of them. Some in the back, there's some over there as well, as I recall correctly. Yep, lots of gateways, that's the technical term for it. Now, DDE looking to push out again. Needs to rebuild his forces. His army supply is looking good. His upgrade count is looking good. I would be interested to see how much damage he can really do with this nuke. And he's going to have to start doing some economic damage to Cruncher, who's been looking very secure up to this point. I thought he was going to try and draw his opponent into a nuclear attack, which seems very unlikely. It's tricky to pull off. 3 Archons coming up for Cruncher right now. He does have 14 High Templar. That's quite a lot. 8 coming in right there. There's a nice bit of EMP action, and that actually took out most of the shields of Cruncher's initial Vanguard. DDE should be able to do good damage right here. There's the scan. He can see the ghosts, and wow, tearing his way through the rear guard of Cruncher right now. And the Colossus taking big fire as well. The Vikings eating through them with the +2 weapon upgrade. That's 1 down, looks for another. Another volley would be enough. He's got to be kind of careful, though. A lot of Templar and a lot of Archons around the place. Could very easily wander into a Psystorm. See whether or not we actually get a nuke attack right now. And 1 Colossus taken out. Second salvo comes in with the torpedoes, and down it goes. And then charging into the middle right there. And the Ghost's getting picked off. But there's a storm, and DDE needs to get out. That was a massive storm right there. And DDE's forces collapsing. However, Cruncher needs a big warp in order to deal with this, since there's a force around the side as well, trying to flank him and doing a good job of doing just that. Dark Templars now warping in, and DDE not prepared for that. There's the scan. However, the DTs might do the damage. Vikings on the top actually managing to defend against that very nicely there. And actually with a +2 upgrade, they're doing a fair amount of damage. Still DDE's force remains, but Cruncher looking for another warp in. Oh, a nice cancel, but doesn't quite get it all, unfortunately. The remainder of DDE's forces with a quick drop right there, trying to hold up against the, well, at least what's left of Cruncher's army, but there really isn't a huge amount of it. Can't take that Zealot out either, so there we go. We are actually back down to this, and here comes a nuke. Surely Cruncher will be able to see this one coming in. He's actually going to run right into it. He needs to leave immediately now. He's out of there without too much of a problem. DDE move the Vikings. Oh my god. Almost nuked his own. Well, oh, wow. The probe actually escaped that. That is just awful. What it did do is force his opponent to move away, and he's looking to try and take down that Nexus in time. Does he have the firepower for it? Maybe with a stim. It's very, very close. Here comes a big warp in right now. He can't cancel that warp in either, so DDE is driven away. Good defense there by Cruncher. He's able to hold that quite nicely. Dropship there doing pretty much nothing. No doubt a drop in the back. DDE still trying to hold on to this, and walking right into a storm in the process. DDE still has the army count advantage right here. I've got to point that out. He really does. Economically, he might be a bit behind, though, as you can see. Cruncher's got 86 probes to 67 SCVs. DDE getting hyper-aggressive. If DDE can destroy this base, that'll be great for him. Now trying to attack this one, he takes it out very easily. No real resistance right here. Exploiting the immobility of his opponent. A little bit of drop action going down there. Another Nexus shut down, and then we're going to have a drop up to the top. And that should shut Cruncher down very nicely in terms of his economy. And even with those charging Zealots and the blinking Stalkers, it's still taking damage. The Sniper up on the ridge right there, doing as much damage as he can. Actually takes a Templar out as well. Nicely played. And in the meantime, there's the drop. It was intercepted by Dark Templars, so DDE is driven back and thrown away. There's the scan, but still those DTs hit like absolute trucks, so it is something to consider. DDE thrown all the way back to his base. More drop action coming in right here as DDE tries to take out this. I think this was the third he took. Yes, it was, and now it's down. So DDE looking really good right now, simply due to the amount of aggression he's able to apply to Cruncher. Charging Zealots go in, and we've got some Templar moving in as well, but DDE isn't really concerned about losing that force. It's kind of irrelevant, since he has a drop coming up to the top right now, and inflicting major damage on this Nexus. There's no defense in the process, so that's gone. That is completely gone. Cruncher is now, I believe, only on 1 functional mining base, which will be this one, so Cruncher is in a huge amount of trouble. A good push now by DDE should finish Cruncher off in this first game, and it has been quite the lengthy one as well. Charging Zealots coming in for Cruncher, and the army supply tells a story, 101 to 70. Worker supply count now sliding into favor of DDE once again. DDE needs 1 conclusive engagement at the front, and he should be okay. Note that Cruncher's gone for pretty much nothing but Charging Zealots. He's got no Colossus at all. And of course, the reaction to that from DDE has been to build heavy Marauders, and that makes perfect sense. Those Zealots are going to be locked down very, very easily by a Marauder count of that size. 24 and 6 more ready, I think, by the time that Cruncher actually goes in. DDE's going to see this coming a mile away thanks to the sensor tower in the middle. This engagement should be good as well if he's able to get good EMPs, and those were fairly reasonable. He's able to EMP at least 2/3 of that army. Keeping out for more drops. He charges in right there, but the Marauder count is absolutely absurd. A lot of firepower coming down, and Cruncher charging his way into the line. Good medevac support right here. He's got an awful lot of them. And if DDE can hold this gateway right here, he should be in a great position. More Archons coming in from the back. No Storms to follow those up. Nice Ghost play to prevent that. We've got more drops coming in from the top right now. That attack from Cruncher was soundly defeated. 35 army supply to 113 right now in favor of DDE, who has secured this expansion as well. Were there Vikings in there? Please don't tell me there were actually Vikings in there. Hey, why not? Let's drop some Vikings in. That is going to be tough to crack, however. It's a lot of photon cannons. And this base is gone, however. Cruncher's been just completely caught out of position there by DDE's rapid response. And really, Cruncher is in a position that is almost untenable at this point. He, once again, has only one functional mining base, and he's getting very, very low on resources. His income is looking dire in comparison to DDE's. His army supply is not looking great at all, 114 to 53. The drop at the top makes sure that there will be no more expanding going on for Cruncher right there. Long-distance mining going on simply because, hey, what else is he going to do? And Cruncher trying to get aggressive on this planetary fortress. Should be able to take it down if he wants to go in, but he doesn't want to sacrifice it, simply because of the amount of firepower is raining down. The rear guard eats an EMP, and DDE drives his opponent back once again. Even with 4 Archons, that's not going to hold up against that kind of firepower. It's just not going to happen. And DDE moving back slightly to try and deal with the charging zealots. There's the EMP, and it's a good one. GG, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. That was a